What made you finally check your husband's burner phone? I'm staring at a credit card charge for $347 at Victoria's Secret, and I know for a fact I haven't bought lingerie in 6 months. My hands are shaking as I scroll through our joint account statement on my laptop, sitting in my Honda Pilot outside Emma's dance studio while she finishes her 4 p.m. jazz class. The charge is from last Tuesday. I was at the Morrison Industries quarterly review until 9 p.m. that night, then picked up takeout for the kids. David said he was working late too, some urgent project deadline that couldn't wait. I remember because I texted him asking if he wanted me to grab him dinner, and he said he'd already eaten. I keep scrolling. There's another charge I don't recognize, $189 at some place called Rosewood Wine and Spirits on the same day. David doesn't drink wine. Claims it gives him headaches. I've been married to this man for 8 years, and I've seen him touch wine maybe 3 times. My phone buzzes with a text from my sister Jessica, asterisk still coming to mom's Sunday dinner? Kids excited to see their cousins. Asterisk. I can't even process the normalcy of family dinner plans right now. I screenshot the charges and text her back, asterisk yeah, see you then. Asterisk. But I'm lying. I don't know what I'll be doing Sunday, because right now I'm wondering if my entire marriage is a lie. The passenger door opens and Emma climbs in, her dance bag hitting the floor with a thud. Mom, you okay? You look weird. I slammed the laptop shut. Fine, sweetheart. How was class? Good. We're learning this new routine for recital. Can we get Starbucks? Not today, Em. We need to pick up your brother and get home for dinner. As I drive to Jake's soccer practice, Emma chattering about her dance routine in the backseat, I'm mentally cataloging the last few weeks. David's phone face down constantly. New passwords on everything. Working late becoming a 3-night-a-week occurrence. The way he's been shower immediately after work religious lately. And the money conversation. God, the money conversation from last month makes my stomach turn now. David sitting me down at our kitchen table, all serious and concerned, explaining how we needed to tighten our budget. How my marketing salary was great, but with 2 kids and the mortgage, we couldn't afford frivolous spending anymore. I felt guilty for weeks about the $80 I spent on a new work blazer. Meanwhile, he's dropping nearly $200 on wine and almost $350 on lingerie that definitely isn't for me. I pull into the soccer field parking lot and spot Jake running drills with his team. 7 years old and already more honest than his father, apparently. My phone buzzes. David, asterisk running late tonight. Don't wait up. Asterisk. It's 4:47 p.m. This is the earliest he's ever sent one of these messages. I stare at the text for a long moment, then type back, asterisk okay. Love you. Asterisk. But as I hit send, I'm already planning. Tonight, after the kids are asleep, I'm going through everything. Bank statements, credit cards, phone bills, whatever I can access. Because that Victoria's Secret charge isn't just about lingerie. It's about the fact that someone is wearing $347 worth of lingerie for my husband, and it sure as hell isn't me. The whistle blows across the field, and Jake waves at me from the sideline. I wave back, smiling like everything is normal. But nothing is normal anymore. The kids are finally asleep by 8:30, and David texted an hour ago saying he wouldn't be home until after 11. Perfect. I'm spread out on our bed with my laptop, a stack of printed bank statements, and 3 different notebooks. I feel like a forensic accountant, which is ironic since David always handles our finances. You're too busy with work and the kids, he'd say whenever I offered to help. I got it covered, babe. Yeah, he's got it covered all right. I start with January and work forward. The patterns emerge quickly once you know what to look for. Every few weeks, there's a cluster of charges I don't recognize. Always on days when David claimed to be working late or had some weekend client emergency. February 14th, Valentine's Day. We stayed home, ordered pizza, watched Netflix after the kids went to bed. David said we were being practical this year, saving money for Jake's summer camp. But here's a $127 charge at Romano's, the upscale Italian place downtown that we haven't been to since our anniversary 2 years ago. Same day, $89 at some boutique called Luna & Co. that I've never heard of. March 8th. I remember this date because it was particularly brutal. Emma had strep throat, Jake had a school project due, and I was pulling an all-nighter for the Henderson campaign launch. David said he had to go into the office to handle some crisis with the quarterly reports. Except here's a $156 charge at the Marriott downtown. Not for a room, David's too smart for that, apparently. The amount suggests drinks, maybe dinner at their restaurant. My hands are trembling as I write everything down. Dates, amounts, locations. The evidence is painting a picture I don't want to see, but can't look away from. The front door opens downstairs, and I freeze. It's only 9:47 p.m. Sarah? You up there? David's voice carries up the stairs. I slam the laptop shut and shove the papers under my pillow. Yeah, just reading. I grab the novel from my nightstand, some thriller Jessica lent me months ago, and flip it open to a random page just as David appears in the doorway. Hey, beautiful. He leans against the doorframe, loosening his tie. He looks good. Too good for someone who's supposedly been crunching numbers for 5 hours. His hair is slightly messed up, but in that deliberate way. And is that cologne? David never wears cologne to the office. You're home early, I say, trying to keep my voice normal. Meeting wrapped up sooner than expected. He walks over and kisses the top of my head. I catch a whiff of perfume that definitely isn't mine. Something floral and expensive. How were the kids? Fine. Emma's excited about her recital. Jake lost a tooth. Which one? Bottom left. I watch his face. He should know this. Jake was wiggling that tooth for weeks, talking about it constantly. David nods absently. That's great. I'm gonna grab a shower. He disappears into our ensuite bathroom, and I hear the water start running. Immediately, I pull out my phone and photograph the bank statements I haven't hidden yet. The camera flash seems impossibly loud. Through the bathroom door, I hear David humming. Actually humming. When was the last time I heard him hum? When was the last time he called me beautiful? My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Package delivered to your address by mistake. Can you please redeliver to 247 Maple Street, apartment 3B? Thanks, Michelle Chen, 555-0847". I stare at the message. We don't have a 247 Maple Street in our neighborhood. But David does have a new coworker named Michelle. He's mentioned her a few times recently, young, just hired, really sharp with the analytics. The shower is still running. I screenshot the text and delete it. Then I sit there, listening to my husband humming in the shower, and wonder how many lies I'm living with. The next morning, David is unusually attentive at breakfast. He makes pancakes, something he hasn't done in months, and keeps touching my shoulder as he moves around the kitchen. The kids are delighted, but every casual brush of his fingers makes my skin crawl. You seem tired, babe, he says, refilling my coffee mug. Everything okay? I'm exhausted because I spent half the night staring at the ceiling, but I just nod. Long week at work. Well, good news. I don't have to work late tonight. How about I pick up dinner from that Thai place you love? Emma looks up from her pancakes, syrup on her chin. Can we do family movie night? Absolutely, princess. David grins and ruffles her hair. What do you think, Mom? The word mom instead of Sarah or babe feels deliberate. Like he's reminding himself of who I am in this family dynamic. Sure, I manage. After David leaves for work and I drop the kids at school, I drive straight to 247 Maple Street. It's a trendy apartment complex about 15 minutes from David's office, all glass and steel with a Whole Foods on the ground level. Young professional territory. I sit in my car across the street for 20 minutes, feeling ridiculous. What am I even doing here? But then I see her. Michelle Chen walks out of the building at 8:43 a.m., and she's exactly what I expected. Mid-20s, glossy black hair, wearing a fitted navy dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She's carrying a coffee cup and checking her phone as she walks toward a silver BMW. My phone buzzes. Text from David, forgot to mention, have a lunch meeting today with the Morrison team. Might run long. I watch Michelle drive away, then text back, no problem. See you tonight for Thai food. But I'm not going home. Instead, I drive to David's office building. I've only been here a handful of times, company picnics, the occasional lunch date back when we still did those. The parking garage is mostly full, and I spot David's black Accord on level 2. I park 3 spaces away and wait. I feel like a stalker, but I need to know if he's actually here during these supposed work days. At 11:47 a.m., my phone rings. Jessica. Hey, I can't talk long, I answer. You sounded weird in your text yesterday. What's going on? I almost tell her everything. But Jessica has always liked David, and she's not exactly known for keeping secrets. Last year, she accidentally told our mom about Emma's surprise birthday party 2 weeks early. Just work stress, I lie. The Branson campaign is killing me. Okay, but you know you can talk to me, right? About anything? Yeah, I know. Thanks, Jess. After I hang up, I realize I've been holding my breath. The isolation hits me. I can't talk to my sister, can't confide in my mom, and my closest friend is Amanda from work, who would probably feel obligated to give me some speech about marriage counseling and working things out. At 12:15 p.m., David walks out of the elevator with 2 other guys in suits. They're laughing about something, and David looks completely normal. Not guilty, not secretive. Just David. They get in his car and drive away. Probably a legitimate lunch meeting. For a moment, I feel insane. Maybe I'm wrong about everything. Maybe there's an explanation for the charges, for Michelle's text, for the perfume I smelled last night. Maybe I'm destroying my marriage over a misunderstanding. But then I remember the Victoria's Secret charge. $347. And David's face when I asked which tooth Jake lost, that blank moment before he pretended to know what I was talking about. I drive home and spend the afternoon cleaning obsessively, scrubbing baseboards and reorganizing closets. Anything to keep my hands busy while my mind races. When David comes home at 6 p.m. with Thai food and that too bright smile, I'm ready to play the perfect wife for one more night. But tomorrow, I'm checking his phone. The next day is Saturday, and David announces he needs to run errands. Boring stuff, he says, already reaching for his keys. Oil change, hardware store, maybe swing by the office to grab some files. On Saturday? I ask, loading the dishwasher from breakfast. You know how it is. Morrison's breathing down everyone's necks about the quarterly projections. He kisses my cheek, and I smell that cologne again. 4 errands. On Saturday morning. Take your time, I tell him. The kids and I might hit the farmer's market. But 20 minutes after David leaves, I'm telling Emma and Jake we're staying home because Mommy has a headache. They're disappointed but easily distracted by the promise of extra iPad time. I wait another 10 minutes, then I do it. I go into David's home office and start searching. His desk drawers are mostly unremarkable, old business cards, charging cables, a stack of Morrison Industries letterhead. But in the bottom drawer, tucked behind a box of staples, I find a receipt. Romano's Restaurant, March 23, $247.83. March 23rd was a Thursday. I remember because it was parent-teacher conferences, and I specifically asked David if he could come with me to meet with Jake's teacher. He said he couldn't leave work, that some client was flying in and needed to be wined and dined. Apparently someone got wined and dined, all right. The receipt shows 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine, and dessert. One of the entrees is sea bass. David's allergic to fish. Has been since I've known him. My hands are shaking as I photograph the receipt. Then I keep searching. In his filing cabinet, behind our tax returns, there's a small notebook. The kind you'd buy at a drugstore. I flip it open, and my blood turns to ice. It's a record. Dates, locations, amounts spent. But not the way you'd track business expenses. This is personal. Intimate. M. Lunch at Rosewood Bistro, love the wine recommendation, $89. M. Surprised her with weekend bag from Luna & Co., she cried, happy tears. $127. M's birthday dinner, Romano's, she wore the red dress, $247. I sink into David's desk chair, staring at the notebook. He's been documenting his affair like it's a scrapbook. There are at least 30 entries going back to January. The amounts add up to thousands of dollars. Our money. The money he said we needed to save. The money he claimed we didn't have for Emma's art classes or the family vacation we've been planning for 2 years. I'm photographing every page when I hear Jake calling from upstairs. Mom. Emma's being mean. Just a minute, buddy. I call back, my voice somehow steady. I quickly put everything back exactly as I found it, then go deal with whatever sibling crisis is happening upstairs. Emma has apparently hidden Jake's favorite Pokemon card, and they're both near tears. As I mediate their argument and help Jake find his card, under Emma's bed, as usual, part of my brain is operating on complete autopilot. The mother part, the part that can solve problems and offer hugs and make everything better. But the other part is screaming. David returns home at 2:47 p.m., cheerful and relaxed. He brings the kids candy bars from the hardware store, their favorite kind, which means he actually went there. He's gotten good at mixing truth with lies, creating just enough authentic details to cover his tracks. How was your morning? He asks, settling onto the couch next to me. Quiet. Nice. I'm amazed at how normal I sound. That night, after the kids are asleep, David suggests we watch a movie. He even lets me pick, which never happens. We end up with some romantic comedy I've seen a dozen times, and halfway through, he reaches over and takes my hand. I love you, Sarah, he says quietly. I know I've been distracted lately with work, but you know that, right? That I love you? I look at his face in the flickering light from the TV. He seems sincere. Maybe he even believes it himself. I know, I whisper back. But what I'm really thinking is, tomorrow I'm getting into that phone. Sunday morning arrives with the kind of perfect spring weather that makes everything feel like a lie. David is making his famous blueberry waffles, humming that same tune from the other night, while the kids argue over who gets to crack the eggs. I'm sitting at our kitchen island, scrolling through my phone and pretending this is just another normal family morning. Jess texted, I tell David, holding up my phone. She wants to know if we're still coming to Mom's for dinner tonight. David pauses mid-whisk. Oh, right. Your mom's thing. You know what, babe, I totally forgot I promised to help Jim with his deck today. Rain check? Jim is David's college roommate who lives 2 hours away. They talk maybe 3 times a year. Since when do you help Jim with home improvement projects? He called yesterday while I was out running errands. Sounded pretty desperate. David shrugs, not meeting my eyes. You know how Jim is with tools. I actually don't know how Jim is with tools, because David has never helped Jim with anything more complicated than moving a couch. But I just nod. Sure. I'll take the kids myself. You're the best. He leans over and kisses my forehead, leaving his phone face down on the counter next to the waffle iron. 3 feet away from me. Unlocked, probably, while he's cooking. My heart starts pounding so hard I'm sure Emma can hear it from across the kitchen. But she's too busy making Jake laugh by putting whipped cream on her nose, and David has his back turned, flipping waffles, and telling some story about his week that I'm only half listening to. The phone sits there like a loaded gun. I wait. David serves the waffles, cuts Jake's into perfect squares the way he likes them, helps Emma pour syrup without making a mess. Normal dad stuff. Sweet dad stuff. The kind of moments that make me question everything I think I know. Then his phone buzzes. David glances at it, and his expression shifts. Just for a second, a flash of something eager and secretive, before he flips it back over. Work? I ask casually. Probably. I'll check it later. But his hand hovers near the phone like he's fighting the urge to grab it. It buzzes again. And again. Daddy, your phone is being annoying, Emma announces through a mouthful of waffle. David forces a laugh. You're right, princess. Let me just turn off the notifications. He picks up the phone, and I catch a glimpse of the lock screen. 3 text messages from M. Chen. The preview of the most recent one reads, can't wait to see you today. I have a surprise. David's thumb moves quickly across the screen, but not before I see him smile. Actually smile. The kind of soft, genuine expression I haven't seen directed at me in months. There, he says, setting the phone back down. All quiet. But I saw enough. Chen is texting my husband on Sunday morning with surprises, and he's not helping Jim with any deck. He's meeting Michelle, probably at some hotel or her apartment, while I take our children to my mother's house and make excuses for why Daddy couldn't come. The waffle in my mouth tastes like cardboard. I force myself to swallow, to smile at Jake when he shows me his syrup pattern, to respond appropriately when Emma asks if she can wear her new dress to Grandma's. David's phone stays silent for the rest of breakfast, which means he definitely silenced notifications from specific contacts. Not work. Just Michelle. After we finish eating, David disappears upstairs to grab a shower before heading to Jim's. The second I hear the water running, I'm moving toward his phone. It's locked, obviously. I try our anniversary date, 06152015. Nothing. Emma's birthday, 03122017. Nothing. Jake's birthday. My birthday. His birthday. The shower is still running. I have maybe 10 more minutes. I try his mother's birthday, his social security number, the last 4 digits, anyway, even our address. Nothing works. Then I remember something. 2 weeks ago, David was paying bills on his laptop, and Jake was bothering him, asking the same question about Pokemon cards over and over. David got frustrated and snapped, Jake, for the love of, it's 0328, okay? Now please let Daddy concentrate. I thought he was just saying random numbers to get Jake to stop talking. 0328, March 28th. I try it. The phone unlocks. My hands are shaking so badly I almost drop it. The shower is still running upstairs, but I feel like David could walk in any second. I open his messages and scroll to M. Chin. The conversation thread goes back months. Hundreds of messages. Photos that make my stomach turn, not explicit, but intimate. Michelle in lingerie that I now know cost $347. Michelle wearing a necklace I've never seen. Michelle in bed, clearly naked under white hotel sheets. And David's responses. God, David's responses. You're so beautiful, Em. Can't stop thinking about last night. Sarah's taking the kids to her sister's Saturday. Come over at 2? Booked us a room at the Marriott for Thursday. The good room with the view. I scroll faster, screenshotting everything. There are discussions about their future together, complaints about how David feels trapped in his marriage, plans for a weekend trip to wine country next month that I know nothing about. The water stops upstairs. I quickly close the messages and try to access his banking app, but it requires a separate password. His email is logged in though, and I can see flight confirmations to San Francisco for next weekend. 2 tickets. David told me he had a conference in Chicago. Footsteps on the stairs. I set the phone back exactly where it was and grab my coffee mug, moving toward the sink just as David appears in the kitchen, hair still damp, wearing jeans and a polo shirt that brings out his eyes. Okay, I'm heading out, he says, pocketing his phone. Tell your mom I'm sorry I missed dinner. He kisses me goodbye, and I smell that cologne again. The same scent I caught the other night, except now I know exactly who he's wearing it for. Drive safe, I tell him. Love you. Love you too, babe. But as I watch him back out of our driveway, I know I'm looking at a stranger. I spend the entire drive to my mother's house rehearsing normalcy. Emma chatters about her dance recital from the back seat while Jake practices his spelling words out loud, and I respond with the right enthusiasm, ask the right follow-up questions. But my hands are white-knuckling the steering wheel because I can't stop seeing those messages. Asterisk Sarah's taking the kids to her sister's Saturday. Come over at 2? Asterisk. He's been planning this. Using our family time, our children's schedules, as opportunities to betray us. And that password, 0328. March 28th. I rack my brain trying to remember what happened that day, then it hits me like a punch to the gut. That was the night of Emma's spring concert. David missed it, said he had food poisoning. I took a dozen videos to show him later, worried about him home alone and sick. Except he wasn't home. And he wasn't sick. Mom, you passed Grandma Street, Emma says, and I realize I've been driving on autopilot. Sorry, sweetheart. Mommy's distracted. I make a U-turn, forcing myself back to the present. My mother's house smells like pot roast and lavender, the same combination that's greeted me since childhood. Usually it's comforting, but today it feels suffocating. Mom hugs the kids first, then me, holding on a beat too long. You look tired, honey. Everything okay? Just work stuff. The lie comes so easily now. Jessica's already here with her twins, and the 4 kids disappear into the backyard within minutes. The adults gather in the kitchen, and I accept a glass of wine I don't want while Mom fusses over dinner and Jessica tells us about her latest dating disaster. So this guy shows up 40 minutes late, she's saying, and his profile picture was obviously from 2015. I swear, Sarah, stay married. Dating in your 30s is a nightmare. My mother glances at me. Speaking of marriage, where's David? I made his favorite roast. Helping a friend with a home project. The words taste bitter. He was really sorry to miss it. That's nice of him, Mom says, but I catch her exchanging a look with Jessica. He's been working so much lately. When was the last time you two had a proper date night? I pretend to think about it, but I know exactly when. January 15th, our last anniversary dinner. David kept checking his phone through dessert, claiming Morrison Industries was having some crisis with a client presentation. Now I wonder if Michelle was texting him that night too. It's been a while, I admit. We keep saying we'll plan something, but you know how it is with work and kids. Jessica refills my wine glass. You should do that couples massage thing Amanda and Mike did for their anniversary. Remember, I told you about it? Amanda. My work friend who's always talking about marriage counseling and communication exercises. The one who'd definitely tell me to have a heart-to-heart conversation with David before jumping to conclusions. If only she knew I was way past the point of heart-to-heart conversations. My phone buzzes. Text from David, Jim's project taking longer than expected. Might be late getting home. Kiss the kids for me. I show the message to Mom and Jessica, playing the part of the understanding wife. But I'm calculating time zones in my head. It's 3:47 p.m. here, which means it's 12:47 p.m. in San Francisco. Perfect timing for a romantic lunch with Michelle before their evening plans. That's David, Mom says fondly. Always helping people. The irony makes me want to scream. After dinner, while the kids play board games with my mother, Jessica corners me in the kitchen while we're loading the dishwasher. Okay, seriously. What's going on? You've been weird all evening. I almost break. Standing there in my childhood kitchen, wine making me loose and emotional, I want to tell her everything. About the credit card charges and the notebook and Michelle Chen's lingerie photos. Instead, I hear myself saying, David and I are just going through a rough patch. Nothing major. But Jessica knows me too well. Sarah. When have you ever called anything in your life nothing major? You're the queen of handling everything yourself. She's right. I've been managing crisis after crisis for years, work deadlines, sick kids, family obligations, and I never minimize anything. I make lists and solve problems and power through. Except this problem can't be solved with organization and determination. This problem is my husband systematically destroying our marriage while I pack his lunch every morning. I'll figure it out, I tell Jessica, which is at least honest. What I don't tell her is that I already am. The drive home from Mom's takes forever because Jake falls asleep and Emma insists on pointing out every dog we pass, but my mind is spinning with logistics. David's flight confirmation said departure at 6:15 a.m. tomorrow, which means he'll probably claim another early morning emergency at Morrison Industries and leave the house by 4:30. Perfect. That gives me tonight to document everything properly. I carry Jake inside while Emma trails behind with her overnight bag from Grandma's, chattering about the card game she won. David's car isn't in the driveway, which surprises no one at this point. I text him, home with kids. How's the deck project? No response. After I get both kids bathed and settled with a movie, I lock myself in our bedroom with my laptop and David's burner phone, because that's what I'm calling it now, even though it's his regular iPhone. When you're using your primary device to conduct an affair, it becomes a burner phone by default. I start screenshotting everything systematically. Not just the messages with Michelle, but his photo gallery, his email confirmations, even his notes app where I find a draft message he never sent. S is getting suspicious about the credit card. Need to be more careful. Can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. My hands freeze over the screen. S is getting suspicious. He's been watching me, analyzing my behavior, trying to stay one step ahead. And that last line, until we don't have to sneak around anymore, suggests this isn't just an affair. They're planning a future together. I save the screenshot and keep scrolling through his notes. There's a list titled SF Weekend with restaurants and activities planned. The Napa Valley Wine Train. A dinner reservation at some place called Atelier Cren. Tickets to a Giants game. He's taking her on the romantic weekend we've been talking about for 3 years. I'm so focused on documenting evidence that I almost miss the sound of David's car in the driveway. It's 9:43 p.m. I quickly lock the phone and shove it back in the exact position I found it on his nightstand. Hey babe, he calls from downstairs. Kids asleep? Almost. They're watching Moana. I hear him moving around the kitchen, opening the refrigerator, running water. Normal sounds of a husband coming home from helping a friend. When he comes upstairs 20 minutes later, he's carrying a beer and looks perfectly relaxed. How was your mom's? He asks, settling into bed beside me. Good. She made your favorite pot roast. Saved you a plate. Ah, that's sweet of her. I'm actually pretty full. Jim's wife insisted on feeding us barbecue all afternoon. He takes a sip of his beer. How were the kids? Emma beat everyone at Uno 3 times in a row. Jake fell asleep in the car on the way home. David nods, scrolling through his phone with his free hand. I watch him check his messages, probably reading something from Michelle about their perfect day together. His face doesn't change, but I notice he angles the screen away from me. Oh, by the way, he says, too casually, Morrison's sending me to Chicago for that quarterly review meeting. Leaving early tomorrow morning, back Wednesday night. Chicago. Not San Francisco. He's maintaining the lie right to my face. That's sudden, I say. You know how it is. When the client calls, we jump. He sets his phone on the nightstand and turns toward me. But hey, when I get back, maybe we can plan that date night your mom was asking about. Get a babysitter, go somewhere nice. He reaches over and touches my face, and I have to fight every instinct not to recoil. Because I know where those hands have been. I've seen the photos. That sounds nice, I whisper. But what I'm really thinking is, by the time you get back from San Francisco, I'll be ready to destroy your entire life. David leaves at 4:23 a.m. Monday morning, kissing my forehead in the dark and whispering about his early flight to Chicago. I pretend to be half asleep, mumbling something about having a safe trip, but I'm wide awake and counting the minutes until his car pulls out of the driveway. By 6:15 a.m., I'm sitting in my Honda Pilot outside Morrison Industries with a coffee and a clear view of the employee parking lot. If David really had a business trip, his car wouldn't be here. But I need to be absolutely certain before I make my next move. His black Accord isn't in the lot. Good. That confirms San Francisco. Emma and Jake think I'm taking them to school early for some special breakfast program. Instead, we're parked across from Daddy's work building while Mommy documents the lies that are about to blow up our family. Why are we just sitting here? Jake asks from the back seat, swinging his legs and accidentally kicking my seat. Mommy's waiting for a phone call for work, buddy. Just a few more minutes. What I'm actually waiting for is 7:45 a.m., when I know Michelle Chin usually arrives at the office. I want to see if she's also mysteriously absent today. At 7:52 a.m., I spot her silver BMW turning into the parking garage. So much for their romantic San Francisco getaway. Either I'm completely wrong about everything, or their travel plans changed, or... Wait. I lean forward, squinting at the BMW's license plate. It's not Michelle's car. Different plates, and now that I look closer, it's actually more of a blue-gray than silver. My phone buzzes with a text from David, flight delayed but finally boarding. Love you. I screenshot it and check the timestamp, 7:54 a.m. Which is interesting, because the San Francisco flight I saw confirmed in his email was scheduled to depart at 6:15 a.m. An hour and 40 minutes is a hell of a delay, long enough to require passenger notification and rebooking. I text back, safe travels. Love you too. But I'm already pulling out of the parking lot and heading toward 247 Maple Street. Michelle's building looks different in the early morning light. More upscale, somehow. I park across the street again and wait, feeling increasingly ridiculous but unable to stop myself. The kids are getting restless, and I'm about to give up when I see her. Michelle Chen walks out of the building at 8:17 a.m., but she's not dressed for work. She's wearing jeans and a casual sweater, pulling a small rolling suitcase behind her. Travel clothes. My heart stops. She loads the suitcase into her BMW, the actual silver one, not the blue-gray car I mistook for hers at Morrison Industries, and drives away. In the direction of the airport. Mommy, we're going to be late for school, Emma says, but I barely hear her. David and Michelle didn't fly to San Francisco together. They're being smart about it, taking separate flights, probably arriving at different times and meeting at the hotel. No shared reservations, no evidence they traveled together. If anyone from Morrison Industries asks, David's at a client meeting and Michelle's using personal days for a solo vacation. Except now I know better. I drop the kids at school in a daze, kissing them goodbye and promising Emma I'll remember to pack her lucky socks for dance class tomorrow. Normal mom things. But inside, I'm calculating how much time I have. If David and Michelle are spending Monday through Wednesday in San Francisco, I have approximately 60 hours to figure out my next move. 60 hours to decide whether I want to save my marriage or end it. Whether I want to confront David when he gets home or keep gathering evidence until I have enough to bury him. By the time I get back home, I already know which option I'm choosing. I'm going to bury him. I spend Tuesday morning creating what I mentally call my war room, David's home office, now repurposed for strategic planning. I printed everything, bank statements, screenshots of his messages with Michelle, flight confirmations, even a timeline I've constructed of their relationship based on his romantic little notebook entries. The evidence covers his entire desk like a puzzle I'm finally putting together. My phone rings at 10:47 a.m. David, calling from Chicago. Hey beautiful, how's your morning? I can hear city noise in the background, traffic, construction, the general hum of urban life. But it could be any city. Good. Just finished grocery shopping. How's the conference? Boring as expected. Morrison's got us in back-to-back sessions until tonight. His voice sounds relaxed, happy even. I miss you, though. Miss the kids. The audacity is breathtaking. He's probably sitting in some San Francisco cafe with Michelle, maybe planning their afternoon while lying directly to my face. We miss you too. Jake asked if you'd be back in time for his soccer game Thursday. Wouldn't miss it, babe. Listen, I should go, they're calling us back in. Love you. Love you too. But as soon as I hang up, I'm Googling Morrison Industries' corporate website. I scroll through their news section, their events calendar, anything that might mention a client conference in Chicago this week. Nothing. No conferences, no client meetings, no quarterly reviews scheduled for this week. I call the main Morrison Industries number, disguising my voice slightly when the receptionist answers. Hi, I'm trying to reach David Mitchell about the Chicago conference this week, but his office phone is going to voicemail. I'm sorry, but Mr. Mitchell is out of the office on personal leave until Thursday. Can I take a message? Personal leave. Not business travel. Personal leave. No message, thanks. I'll try his cell. I hang up and stare at the phone. David told Morrison Industries he was taking personal days, not attending a work conference. Which means his company has no idea he's supposedly in Chicago on their behalf. This is it. This is the lie that's going to destroy everything. My hands are shaking as I call Jessica. Hey, what's up? Aren't you supposed to be at work? I'm working from home today. Listen, I need to ask you something hypothetical. Okay, shoot. If you found out someone's husband was cheating, would you tell them? Even if it meant blowing up their whole life? There's a long pause. Sarah, is this about you? It's hypothetical. Bullshit. Is David having an affair? I close my eyes. Once I say it out loud, there's no taking it back. I think so. No, I know so. I have proof. Jessica's quiet for so long I think the call dropped. Then, I'm coming over. Jess, you don't need to. I'm already in my car. Don't do anything crazy until I get there. She hangs up, and I realize I'm crying. Not the angry tears I expected, but exhausted, defeated sobs that seem to come from somewhere deep in my chest. 23 minutes later, Jessica is sitting in David's office chair, scrolling through the screenshots on my phone while I pace behind her. Holy shit, Sarah. Holy shit. Look at this one, can't wait until we don't have to sneak around anymore. They're planning to leave you. I know. And he's been using your joint account to pay for everything? Your money for her gifts? I know. Jessica sets down my phone and looks at me. What are you going to do? I stop pacing and meet her eyes. I'm going to make sure he loses everything. Jessica and I spend the next 2 hours planning like we're preparing for war. She's always been the strategic one, the sister who reads the fine print and remembers details, and right now I need her tactical mind more than her emotional support. Okay, so legally, you need to protect yourself first, she says, pulling up a notepad on her phone. Joint accounts, credit cards, any shared assets. He could drain everything before you even file papers. I hadn't thought about that. He wouldn't. The kids need. Sarah. The man spent $347 on lingerie for his mistress while telling you to cut back on groceries. He absolutely would. She's right. The David I thought I knew wouldn't do any of this, but that David apparently never existed. I can't just empty our accounts. That looks vindictive. You're not emptying them. You're protecting half of what's legally yours. Jessica's fingers fly across her phone screen. My friend Lauren went through this 2 years ago. Her lawyer said the biggest mistake women make is being fair while their husbands are being strategic. While she researches divorce attorneys, I'm going through David's closet, looking for anything else he might be hiding. In his gym bag, which is suspicious since David hasn't been to a gym in months, I find a receipt from Nordstrom. $423 for women's perfume and a silk scarf. Dated last Friday, when he claimed to be working late on quarterly reports. Jess, look at this. I hold up the receipt. This is the perfume I've been smelling on him. She glances over. Tom Ford Black Orchid. That's like $200 an ounce. Jesus, Sarah, he's not even trying to be subtle anymore. My phone buzzes. Text from David, conference dinner running late. Probably won't be able to call tonight. Kiss the kids for me. I screenshot it and show Jessica. Conference dinner in Chicago. Except Morrison Industries thinks he's on personal leave, and I'm pretty sure he's at some romantic restaurant in San Francisco right now. Wait. Jessica grabs my phone and zooms in on the timestamp. He sent this at 2:47 p.m. That's 11:47 a.m. Pacific time. What kind of conference dinner starts before noon? Another lie. Another stupid, careless mistake that proves he thinks I'm too trusting to notice details. I want to call the hotel, I say suddenly. The San Francisco hotel from his email confirmation. Sarah, no. That's crazy ex-wife territory. I'm not crazy, and I'm not his ex-wife yet. I'm his current wife trying to figure out if my husband is sharing a bed with another woman while lying about his location. Jessica stares at me for a moment, then hands me her phone. Use mine. In case they have caller ID. The St. Regis San Francisco answers on the second ring. I take a breath and use my most professional voice. Hi, I'm calling to confirm a reservation for David Mitchell. Check in yesterday, check out Wednesday. Let me look that up for you. Yes, I see Mr. Mitchell checked in yesterday afternoon. The suite is registered under his name, but I show 2 guests. 2 guests. My stomach drops to my feet. Perfect, thank you. And you have his correct phone number on file for any hotel communications? She rattles off David's cell phone number. The same number that texted me about conference dinners 20 minutes ago. That's correct. Thanks so much. I hang up and look at Jessica. They're sharing a suite. 2 guests, registered under his name. Okay. Jessica stands up and starts pacing. Okay, this is happening. Your husband is in San Francisco with his girlfriend, lying about everything, and spending your money to do it. The word girlfriend hits me like a physical blow. I've been thinking affair and mistress, but Jessica's right. The notebook entries, the planning, the talk about not sneaking around anymore. Michelle isn't just some fling. She's his girlfriend. He has a whole separate relationship, complete with romantic getaways and future plans. I need to see a lawyer, I say quietly. Lauren's attorney is Rebecca Chen, no relation to the mistress, obviously. She's expensive but ruthless. I'll text you her number. Jessica starts gathering up all my printed evidence, organizing it into neat piles. What about the kids? Are you going to tell them before David gets back? I hadn't even considered that. Emma and Jake have no idea their father is lying about business trips, or that Daddy has been taking another woman to fancy restaurants with their college fund money. Not yet. I need to figure out custody arrangements first. Make sure I can keep them. You'll keep them. David's the one who's been planning his exit strategy. Any judge will see that. But as Jessica says it, I realize something that makes my blood run cold. David hasn't just been planning romantic weekends with Michelle. He's been documenting our financial struggles, talking about feeling trapped in our marriage. What if this whole thing, the affair, the secret spending, even getting caught, is part of some larger plan to make me look unstable? What if David wants me to find out? The thought hits me like ice water. What if David wants me to find out? I'm standing in his office at 11:23 p.m. Wednesday night, waiting for him to come home from his Chicago trip, when it all clicks into place. The careless receipts left in obvious places. The notebook hidden behind tax returns where I definitely look if I was searching for financial documents. Even that credit card statement, David handles our finances. He could have easily used a different card for Michelle's lingerie. But he didn't. He used our joint account, where I'd see every charge. Jessica left 2 hours ago after helping me set up consultations with 3 different attorneys for tomorrow. She kept saying how stupid David was being, leaving such an obvious trail. But David isn't stupid. He graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern, built his career on attention to detail. Unless being sloppy was the point. My phone buzzes. David, landing now. Home in an hour. Can't wait to see my girls. And Jake too, obviously, lol. Even his texts feel calculated now. The casual humor, the family man affection. Is this how he talks to Michelle about his other life with his wife and kids? I text back, we'll be asleep but can't wait to see you tomorrow. Then I do something that would have seemed impossible a week ago. I go through David's laptop. He left it open on the kitchen counter, another unlike David move. His email is logged in, and I scroll through months of messages. What I find makes my hands shake so badly I almost drop the laptop. There's an email thread with someone named Marcus Webb at Hartley & Associates. A law firm. The subject line is consultation follow-up and it's dated 3 weeks ago. David, as we discussed, California is a no-fault divorce state, which simplifies the process considerably. Given the circumstances you outlined regarding Sarah's increasing instability and financial irresponsibility, we should be able to establish a strong case for primary custody. The documentation you're gathering will be crucial. Financial irresponsibility. My financial irresponsibility. I scroll down to David's original message. Marcus, thanks for the consultation yesterday. As I mentioned, my wife has become increasingly erratic about money, questioning legitimate business expenses, making accusations about my work travel. I'm concerned about how this is affecting our children. Emma mentioned that mommy seems sad all the time and Jake has been having nightmares. I want to protect them, but I also want to make sure I handle this correctly from a legal standpoint. I'm going to be sick. Actually, physically sick. David has been setting me up. Every receipt I found, every careless mistake, he's been building a narrative where I'm the unstable spouse who's paranoid about his business expenses and erratic about money. When I finally confront him, he'll act shocked and hurt that I violated his privacy, invaded his personal space, went through his things like some jealous crazy person. The affair with Michelle isn't just about Michelle. It's his exit strategy. And the worst part? It's working. I have been sad all the time lately. I have been questioning his expenses and travel. I did go through his phone, his office, his laptop. I called his hotel pretending to be someone else. Any divorce attorney would look at my behavior over the past week and see exactly what David's painting, an unhinged wife who's been stalking her husband and violating his privacy based on paranoid suspicions. My phone buzzes again. Actually just pulled in the driveway. Missed you so much, babe. I slam the laptop shut and run upstairs, my heart hammering. This isn't about catching David anymore. This is about survival. By the time I hear his key in the front door, I'm in bed with the lights off, pretending to sleep. But I'm wide awake, listening to him move around downstairs, and planning my own exit strategy. Because if David wants to play chess, I'm about to show him I learned from the best. Thursday morning arrives with David making breakfast again, humming that same tune while scrambling eggs like he's the perfect husband returning from a business trip. He's showered, shaved, wearing the blue button-down that used to be my favorite on him. Everything calculated to remind me of better times. How was Chicago? I ask, buttering Jake's toast. Productive. Boring, but productive. He doesn't even hesitate. Morrison's client was happy with the quarterly projections, so that's a relief. I nod and smile, playing my part. But inside, I'm cataloging every lie. There was no client meeting. Morrison Industries thinks he took personal leave. He was at the St. Regis in San Francisco with Michelle Chen, probably planning their future together while building his case against me. Did you miss us? Emma asks, climbing onto his lap. So much, princess. Did you take care of mommy while I was gone? Mommy was sad. She kept checking her phone and making lists. David's eyes find mine over Emma's head. There's something calculating in his expression, like he's filing away this information for later use. Emma the sad, distracted wife who couldn't even hide her emotional state from their 7-year-old daughter. Well, Daddy's home now, he says, kissing Emma's forehead. And I brought presents. He pulls out a bag from some Chicago airport gift shop t-shirts for the kids with the skyline on them, deep dish pizza seasoning mix for me. Props to support his lie, probably purchased online and shipped here yesterday. After breakfast, David announces he needs to catch up on work emails before heading to the office. He disappears into his home office, the same office where I spent Tuesday building my case against him, and closes the door. I drop the kids at school and drive straight to my 9 a.m. appointment with Rebecca Chen, the attorney Jessica recommended. Her office is downtown, all glass and steel and expensive furniture that screams I win cases. Rebecca is younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with perfect makeup and a handshake that could crush bones. She listens without interrupting as I explain everything, the credit card charges, the burner phone, Michelle Chen, the San Francisco trip. When I finish, she leans back in her leather chair. Sarah, I'm going to be direct with you. Your husband is building a counter-narrative. I know. I found emails to another attorney. Marcus Webb at Hartley & Associates. Her expression sharpens. Marcus Webb is good. Expensive and ruthless. If David hired him, he's serious about this. She flips through the screenshots I brought. These messages prove infidelity, but California is no fault. The bigger issue is that David's clearly been planning this longer than you have. What does that mean? It means while you were being a good wife, he was being a strategic husband. The joint account spending, the obvious evidence trail, he wanted you to find out. Now he can claim you've been unstable, paranoid, violating his privacy. My stomach drops. So I'm screwed. Not necessarily. But we need to move fast and smart. Rebecca pulls out a legal pad. First, you need to document your own narrative. Start keeping a daily journal of David's behavior, his lies, his absences. Timestamped, detailed. Second, we need to establish your financial responsibility. Pull together tax returns, mortgage payments, anything that shows you managing household finances competently. She keeps talking about asset protection and custody strategies, but I'm stuck on one phrase: he wanted you to find out. David orchestrated all of this. Every discovery, every piece of evidence, every moment of heartbreak, it was all part of his plan. There's something else, Rebecca says, checking her watch. If David's attorney is Marcus Webb, they're probably going to move soon. Webb doesn't like drawn-out separations. He prefers quick, decisive action. How soon? Days, maybe weeks. You need to be ready. I walk out of Rebecca's office with a retainer agreement and a sick feeling that I'm already 3 moves behind in a game I didn't know I was playing. I'm sitting in my car outside Jake's school at 2:47 p.m., waiting for pickup, when David calls me. Hey babe, can you swing by my office? I left some important files at home that I need for tomorrow's presentation. My blood turns cold. David never asks me to come to his office. In 8 years of marriage, I can count on one hand the times I've been to Morrison Industries outside of company events. Which files? I ask, stalling. The Morrison quarterly reports. They're in my desk drawer, the blue folder. I know it's a pain, but I'm stuck in meetings until 6. The blue folder that doesn't exist. I spent Tuesday going through every inch of his desk, and there were no Morrison quarterly reports. Because there is no Morrison quarterly report meeting tomorrow, I already confirmed that with my anonymous call earlier this week. Sure, I hear myself say. Give me an hour. But I'm not going to get any files. I'm going to Morrison Industries to find out exactly what David's been telling his coworkers about his unstable wife. The Morrison Industries lobby is all marble and glass, designed to intimidate. The receptionist, a young blonde who looks like Michelle Chen's younger sister, greets me with professional politeness. I'm Sarah Mitchell, here to see David. He asked me to grab some files from his office. Her expression shifts slightly. Oh, Mrs. Mitchell. I'm sorry, but David's not in today. He's been out on personal leave since Monday. I force confusion onto my face. That's strange. He just called me from here 20 minutes ago about some urgent files for tomorrow's meeting. Maybe he's working remotely? Let me check with his supervisor. She picks up her phone, and I can hear her side of the conversation. Hi Janet, it's Melissa. David Mitchell's wife is here looking for him. Okay, really? I'll let her know. She hangs up with an expression that's part sympathy, part awkwardness. Mrs. Mitchell, Janet says there's no meeting scheduled for David tomorrow. And she mentioned, well, she's been concerned about some inconsistencies in David's recent work reports. My heart starts pounding. What kind of inconsistencies? Melissa glances around the lobby, then lowers her voice. I probably shouldn't say this, but Janet mentioned that David claimed several client dinners and travel expenses that don't match any scheduled meetings. She was planning to discuss it with him when he returns from leave. David's expense reports. The romantic dinners with Michelle, the San Francisco trip, even the Victoria's Secret charges, he's been billing them to Morrison Industries as business expenses. He's not just stealing from our joint account, he's committing fraud against his employer. When did Janet first notice these inconsistencies? I ask. Last week, I think? She had me pull all his expense reports from the past 6 months for review. Last week. Right around the time I found the first suspicious credit card charges. David must have known his expense account was being audited, known he was about to be caught, and decided to accelerate his exit strategy. Mrs. Mitchell? Are you okay? You look pale. I realize I've been standing frozen in the middle of a lobby for who knows how long. I'm fine. Just confused about the files. I'll figure it out. I walk back to my car in a daze. David isn't just planning to leave me for Michelle. He's about to lose his job for expense account fraud, which means he needs to secure his financial future before Morrison Industries discovers what he's been doing. And the fastest way to secure that future is to divorce me, claim I'm mentally unstable, get primary custody of the kids, and take half our assets before his legal troubles begin. My phone buzzes with another text from David. Thanks for grabbing those files, babe. You're a lifesaver. But I know the truth now. David isn't in meetings until 6. He's somewhere with Michelle, probably celebrating their last day in San Francisco, completely unaware that his entire plan is about to implode. Because Morrison Industries is already investigating him, and I have proof of everything. I'm driving home from Morrison Industries when the pieces finally click into place, and I have to pull over because my hands are shaking too badly to steer. David's not just cheating on me. He's not just planning to divorce me and take the kids. He's been systematically destroying his own life, the expense fraud, the obvious evidence trail, the consultation with Marcus Webb, and he's planning to blame it all on me. Think about it, when Morrison Industries fires him for fraudulent expense reports, who had access to his credit cards? His wife. When they investigate the charges at Romano's and Victoria's Secret, who could have made those purchases? His mentally unstable wife who's been erratic about money and questioning legitimate business expenses. He's going to claim I've been using his corporate credit card for personal purchases while he was traveling for work. The romantic dinners with Michelle become Sarah treating herself while I was in Chicago. The lingerie becomes evidence of my shopping addiction and financial irresponsibility. My phone rings. Rebecca Chen. Sarah, we have a problem. Marcus Webb just filed preliminary paperwork for a restraining order against you. Temporary, but it claims you've been stalking David, going through his personal belongings, and making threats. What threats? I haven't made any threats. According to the filing, you told your sister Jessica that you were going to make sure he loses everything. Webb is painting this as a vindictive wife planning to destroy her husband's career and reputation. I close my eyes. Jessica and I had that conversation in David's office 2 days ago. How could he possibly know what I said unless? Rebecca, I think David's been recording me. In his office, maybe the whole house. That's illegal in California without consent. David doesn't care about illegal. He's been committing expense fraud for months. I quickly explain what I learned at Morrison Industries, the audit, the fraudulent reports, Janet's investigation. Rebecca's quiet for a long moment. This changes everything. If David's about to be fired for fraud, he needs this divorce to go through fast, before his income disappears. And he needs you to look like the unstable party so you can't claim spousal support. What about the restraining order? Don't go home. If David's there, you'll be in violation before you even know the order exists. Do you have somewhere safe to stay? I think about my options. My mother would ask too many questions. Jessica's house has the twins, and I don't want to involve more kids in this mess. The Marriott downtown, I decide. Ironic, but safe. Good. Pack a bag, get the kids from school, and lay low until we can fight this thing. And Sarah? Don't contact David directly. Don't text, don't call, don't respond to anything. He's probably trying to provoke you into doing something he can use against you. As if on cue, my phone buzzes with a text from David. Where are you? Your car isn't here and the files aren't on my desk. Starting to worry. The performance continues, even now. I screenshot the message but don't respond. I pick up Emma and Jake early, telling their schools there's a family emergency. Which is true enough. Emma asks why we're going to a hotel instead of home, and I tell her daddy's working late and we're having an adventure. But as I'm packing our suitcase 20 minutes later, I find something that makes my blood run cold. A small recording device, no bigger than a quarter, taped under my jewelry box. David hasn't just been planning this for weeks. He's been documenting everything, recording every conversation, every phone call, every private moment in our bedroom. The man I married 8 years ago doesn't exist. He never existed. I'm sitting in Rebecca's office at 8:17 a.m. Friday morning with a cardboard box full of evidence, a flash drive containing 17 hours of David's secretly recorded conversations, and the most satisfying feeling I've ever experienced in my life. Because last night, David Mitchell destroyed himself. After I found the recording device in our bedroom, I called Rebecca's emergency line. She connected me with a private investigator named Tony Vasquez, who spent 4 hours Wednesday night sweeping my house. We found 12 devices totaled: bedroom, kitchen, David's office, even one in Jake's playroom. All illegal under California's two-party consent law. But here's the beautiful part, those recordings captured everything. David's phone calls with Michelle planning their future together. His conversations with Marcus Webb about painting me as mentally unstable. And most damning of all, his call Thursday night with someone named Rick Hoffman, apparently his backup plan for when Morrison Industries fires him. The expense reports are Sarah's fault, David said on that recording. I gave her access to my corporate card for emergencies, and she went crazy with it. Romantic dinners, expensive lingerie, she was having some kind of breakdown while I was traveling for work. I tried to cover for her, but I can't anymore. Except David forgot one crucial detail: Morrison Industries corporate cards require photo ID for purchases over $50. And every single fraudulent charge has David's signature on it. Tony presented all of this to the police at 6:23 a.m. this morning. Corporate fraud, illegal surveillance, perjury on the restraining order filing. David's looking at serious criminal charges. The restraining order was dismissed an hour ago, Rebecca tells me, sliding a document across her desk. Judge Chen, again, no relation to the mistress, was not amused when she saw the evidence of illegal recordings and falsified claims. My phone has been buzzing nonstop since 7 a.m. 12 missed calls from David, 6 voicemails that start angry and get increasingly desperate. The last one, timestamped 7:43 a.m., is him crying. Sarah, please call me back. I can fix this. We can fix this. The kids need their father, and I made mistakes, but we can work through this. Please don't let them arrest me in front of my coworkers. Too late. According to Tony's text at 7:52 a.m., David was escorted out of Morrison Industries in handcuffs at 7:47 a.m., right in front of the entire morning shift. Including Michelle Chen, who apparently had no idea about the expense fraud and is now facing her own investigation for accepting gifts purchased with company funds. What happens now? I asked Rebecca. Criminally? David's probably looking at 18 months minimum, assuming he takes a plea deal. Morrison Industries will likely sue him civilly for the fraudulent expenses. Tony estimated about $60,000 over 6 months. $60,000. The money we didn't have for Emma's art classes and Jake's summer camp and our family vacation. David spent $60,000 of stolen money on his girlfriend while telling me we needed to cut back on groceries. And the divorce? Rebecca smiles, the first genuine smile I've seen from her. With the criminal charges and evidence of asset hiding, you'll get primary custody, the house, and spousal support. David's going to be too broke and too much of a felon to fight it. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Jessica. Holy shit, turn on Channel 7 News. David's arrest is the lead story. I don't turn on the news. I don't need to see David's perp walk or hear reporters speculating about Morrison Industries' corporate culture. Instead, I text my mother, "Can you pick up Emma and Jake from school today? I have some things to finish up, but we'll be home for dinner." Home. Our house, where David will never live again. Where I don't have to wonder about secret phones or mysterious charges or cologne that isn't meant for me. "Rebecca," I say, standing up and extending my hand. "Thank you. Thank you for trusting the process." "And Sarah?" When people ask what made you finally check his phone, tell them the truth. Sometimes the universe hands you exactly what you need to save yourself. As I walk out of her office, I realize she's right. Finding that Victoria's Secret charge wasn't bad luck or suspicious timing. It was the best thing that ever happened to me.